All right, it's about 5:49 p.m. and it is time to hear from Mr. Scott Cannon. So let's see what he has for his point and counterpoint today. Hello, Scott.
Hello, humans. I am Scott Cannon coming to you live on WLTH 1370 AM from the greatest city in all the world. Gary, Indiana, and this is the Counterpoint. Well, folks, it's Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, so in accordance with the celebration of the Latino community and their contributions to our society, I wanted to take this opportunity to show some respect for some of the Hispanic and Latino people who I admire for the way that they've made the world a better place for all of us. Now, it's been well over 500 days since NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick had a job. And while obviously his stance on kneeling during the Star-Spangled Banner has a lot to do with that, and him being, in effect, blackballed from football, one of the lesser talked about political stances that he took also contributed to him being denounced in football and non-football circles. I'm talking about his embrace of one man, one of the most reviled and hated men who's been a thorn in the side of the American government for over 60 years. Fidel Castro. That's right. The hatred of Colin Kaepernick went to a whole nother level once during a press conference in 2015, the quarterback wore a shirt with Malcolm X and Fidel Castro shaking hands on it. Then when he was asked about it, Kaepernick went on to list the many accomplishments that Fidel Castro had achieved as leader of Cuba. So what is it about the Cuban leader that makes many on the left revere him as a hero and icon, and many on the right despise him as a tyrant and dictator? Well, much of that depends on your perspective. Born to a wealthy Spanish family in Cuba, Castro first embraced revolutionary ideals while a law student studying in Havana. Not content with resting on his privilege, Fidel became a revolutionary, participating in rebellions against U.S.-supported right-wing regimes in Colombia and the Dominican Republic. From there, he began to plot to overthrow U.S.-supported Cuban dictator Fulgencio Batista. Cuba under Batista was almost considered a more X-rated Las Vegas, with live sex shows involving men, women, and even animals. It was also the center of the gambling, alcohol, and drugs market. That's the reason that for many years Cuba was called the brothel of the Caribbean. Being fed up of his nation being used as a cesspool and a dumping ground for the Americans and other imperialist nations, Castro, his brother Raul, and legendary guerrilla Marxist Che Guevara formed the 26th of July movement, which eventually overthrew Batista's government in 1959. From there, Castro implemented his Marxist-Leninist socialist views and expanded health care and education for all of Cuba's residents. Cuba went from being one of the most illiterate countries in the world to having 96% of its population being literate within 2 years. Today, Cuba has a higher literacy rate than the United States and many other first world nations, with 99.8% of its citizens being able to read and write. Women, black people, and the poor particularly benefited from these changes because the past regimes either ignored or marginalized them. Cuba also enacted one of the most expansive universal health care systems in the world, maintaining a life expectancy that rivals most first world nations. Cuba also has one of the most admired medical systems that trains doctors from all over the world and exports medical care to places like sub-Saharan Africa during the Ebola crisis. Most importantly, Castro, as I stated earlier, became a thorn in the side of the United States and other Western nations in the early 60s by embracing Soviet-style communism and exporting his revolutionary ideas around the world. This caused the United States to place an embargo on Cuba, barring trade and other economic resources from the country that is said to have cost the nation over $50 billion over the past 60 years. In spite of that, Castro continued to involve himself in revolutionary movements all around the world. He supported the Viet Cong in Vietnam, left-wing guerrillas in Latin America, and the Black Panthers here in America, who he helped train and to this day provides shelter for those seeking refuge like Assata Shakur. It is perhaps because of this the American government tried many times to overthrow or assassinate Castro. It is estimated that the U.S. tried to assassinate Fidel at least 638 times, with each attempt failing. But it was not all smooth sailing for Cuba under Castro either, as the country for many years had suffered from the embargo, but also for some of Fidel's more controversial policies, like jailing homosexuals, banning religion, and Christmas for many years. But as he grew older, Castro admitted the error of those ways, and Cuba became a leader in the gay rights movement under his brother, led by his niece. His legacy, however, will continue to be controversial, as many on the left and in Africa will see him as a warrior for the oppressed, who fought European and American imperialism, alongside people like Malcolm X, Samora Michael, and Nelson Mandela. Others will remember him for his hostility to the United States and his willingness to violate human rights in order to maintain order. One thing that you can't deny, though, is that Fidel Castro's effect on Cuba and the world was huge, and it will not be forgotten anytime soon. Okay, folks, you can chop it up with me on Twitter at The Chemist Lives. The Chemist is spelled with K, as I'm a product of the Gary Community School System, and we can talk about politics, music, sports. You can tell me how terrible I am at this job, or you can just listen to me every Monday from 6 to 8 on Issues and Answers with Jonathan Booz, and I promise you guys, the McGee Report, brought to you by the precocious hostess with the mostest, Jamila McGee, will be back when her papa's up to it and health-wise. I am Scott Cannon, and that was the Counterpoint on WLTH, 1370 AM. God bless the working class, and God bless labor. And I'm out.
All right, really quickly here. So, Kylie Jenner is saying that up until this week, she has never had milk and cereal together. All right. But our good friends over at TMZ has stated that on April 25th of 2013, she Instagrammed a photo, it's Instagram. She Instagrammed a photo of her having cereal and milk together.
Wait, you mean the Kardashians being duplicitous and lying about something? I'm shocked. I am shocked.
Well,
I thought that family was honest.
It's like, what is the point of even, like, what are you trying to get, a milk and cereal deal? Like, what are you doing? I don't know, but apparently that's what she's up to. Also, LeBron James is landing the Black Panther director for Space Jam sequel.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I don't know, man. I think some things should just be left alone. Space Jam is something.
Exactly. I'm a Jordan guy, okay? So
yeah, that's what I'm like.
I wasn't going to watch Space Jam 2 just because of my loyalty to Michael Jordan, but since Ryan Coogler is my dude, Ryan
Coogler is a really, really awesome producer. So he's producing the movie, and then T. Nance, I can't think of his first. Oh, Terrence Nance will be the director. So. Yeah,
I might have to support Coogler on that.
Yeah, Coogler is really awesome. So I don't know. We'll see what this sequel is up to. And then last but not least, Floyd Mayweather, of course, has a fight lined up with Manny Pacquiao, but he is first going to have a tune-up fight in Tokyo.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, this dude comes in and out of retirement,
right.
But hey.
Hey, he pulling like his idol, Sugar Ray Leonard. I think Sugar Ray Leonard retired like 6 times.
Right, that's right. We were talking about that while, you were doing your counterpoint. I'm like, I didn't know it was possible, but apparently it's possible. Yeah. So that's all I have, though.
All right, I will talk to you on Monday.
All right, thank you. All right, bye. So really quickly here, let me go ahead with some weather right now. It's about 76 degrees. Tonight is going to drop down to about 68. It's going to be partly cloudy, warm, and humid. Some showers and thunderstorms will be there in spots